Alrighty, we are live. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the I'm First live web chat on Wednesday, November 8th. I am Matt Rubinoff. I'm the founder of the I'm First project and Chief Strategy Officer at Strive for College. Today's actually a really special day. If you didn't know already, today happens to be the inaugural First Generation College celebration. Recognizing the anniversary of the Higher Education Act. I think it was 1965, but then amended in 1980. And the amendment in 1980 was the first federal recognition of what it means to be a first-generation college student. So extra special chat today. And thank you again for joining us. We have a really awesome panel of esteemed college reps, a diverse, eclectic group, three different, very different private colleges, universities in the state of Massachusetts, an arts college in Los Angeles, California, and we're working on getting Rutgers University of Newark on with us. So if you see that box coming in and out, we're having some technical difficulties over there, but I hope it works out for you, Carrie. So with us this evening are Dawn Bryden, the Dean of Admission at Bay Path University, Brittany Sampson, Senior Assistant Director of Admission at Boston University, Matthew Gallagher, Dean of Admission and Financial Aid at Otis College of Art and Design, Carrie Livingston, Assistant Director of First Year Students at Rutgers University in Newark, and Eddie Chiabanu. I should have asked how to pronounce your last name. Hopefully I did that justice. The Assistant Director of Admission at Williams College. So really looking forward to hearing from all of you guys over the next hour to 90 minutes. Before I turn it over to you guys, I need to do a brief commercial. For those who are not already familiar, my organization, Strive for College, is a national nonprofit, and we believe that every student who deserves a shot at college should get one. And so our mission is to connect those students with the know-how and support that they need. We do this primarily through a website and an iOS app where aspiring college students can connect with an online mentor for help receiving one-on-one guidance and support through the college admissions process. You can research and connect with colleges with your mentor, including the ones that are with us tonight, and you can collaborate on your college essays, complete your college applications together. So if you're someone who needs help navigating the college process, go to striveforcollege.org and sign up to connect with a mentor. Strive also runs an equally awesome website called I'm First, IMFIRST.org, where it's all about first-generation college students. You can follow a first-gen student blog. You can watch video testimonials from first-gen students and graduates from across the country. So if you haven't already, go check out imfirst.org and hope you find it to be a really beneficial community. So with that, I am going to turn it over to our college panelists to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about their institutions, starting with Dawn. Dawn, take it away.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Hi, everybody. My name is Dawn Bryden, and I'm the Dean of Admissions at Bay Path University. Bay Path is a women's college in Longmeadow, Massachusetts. It's a small liberal arts college established in 1897. I want to let you know that about 5% of our incoming class are first-generation college students, so you're not alone. I myself was a first-generation college student, so I know exactly the hurdles and issues that you might think about or questions that you might have upon entering the college scene. So I'm here to help you. Also want to just give a little plug about our online virtual tour. If you are from outside of the New England region and would like to check us out, go to baypath.edu. And right on our landing page, we have a really awesome virtual tour to get us a feel for what Bay Path is all about. We also have, outside of the 25, 30 undergraduate majors, we have about 30 graduate majors that we talk to students about, and they're really, really awesome. So I look forward to hearing from you, and I pass it along.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you, Don. And over to you, Brittany.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Sampson. I'm a Senior Assistant Director on the Board of Admissions at BU. Thank you all for joining us and welcoming us. So Boston University is a large private teaching and research institution located in an urban environment, really the heart of Boston. We have students that come from all over the world. We have about 16,000 undergraduates, and we have all 50 states represented, over 100 countries, making up an international population of around 25%. Now, this is really important to us and our global identity because we really identify as an institution that is welcoming to all students, and we want folks to have an experience where they're interacting with different students from different backgrounds. When students come to campus, they have 250 programs to choose from across their 10 schools and colleges. So not only when you're at BU, you get to explore things that you never thought you would even explore, you also have that flexibility of pursuing things that you have been passionate about since coming to Boston University. I won't talk too much about the academics because we'll get to that a little later, but I do say that Boston University students will be able to find their community. Having 10 schools and colleges, you'll have schools that range from large liberal arts colleges to smaller pre-professional schools like our Questrom School of Business or our College of Engineering. So there are a lot of options to choose from, and there's a lot of flexibility within our institution.
Awesome. Thank you, Brittany, for being with us. Over to you, Matthew.
All right, thank you. Hi, my name is Matthew Gallagher. I'm the Dean of Admissions and Financial Aid at Otis College of Art and Design. We are an art and design college located in Los Angeles, California. We have about 1,100 students, and what's sort of unique about the curriculum is that students take a foundation year. In the first year, it's a set curriculum. They have a little bit of choice, but they really get to try everything out that the college has to offer before they would choose their major and go into that major in the sophomore year. So we have 7 majors. They include architecture, landscape and interiors, communication arts, digital media, fashion design, fine arts, product design, and toy design. We do also have a substantial requirement in liberal arts and sciences courses. Sometimes students think, okay, art school, I don't have to take math ever again. We actually have a math requirement. But what's a little bit different typically at a school like Otis College is that the academic classes you take will often resonate with what you're doing in the studio setting. So for example, if you're a toy design major, your social science requirement is taking child psychology. So you're learning about the psychology behind making toys for different age groups. We also have a program called Creative Action, which is really fun and exciting at Otis, where students do team group projects, and they're really also engaging with the community. They're trying to create social change through real projects with the community. A couple of other quick fast facts about the college. We're coming up on our 100th year anniversary, so we've been around for just about 100 years. We were just ranked 10th in the nation by the Chronicle of Higher Education for diversity, meaning the 10th most diverse college or university in the country. And then another cool one that we're excited about, Money Magazine just ranked us as number 4 in the nation for colleges with the most added value. And that's really looking at a student's ability to rise socioeconomically upon graduation. So, thank you.
Very cool. Thank you, Matthew. And I think we have Carrie. I hope your connection's strong for us. So
we're going to try. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We're going to try. Can you hear me okay? Okay, awesome. My name is Carrie Livingston. I'm the Assistant Director of First Year Admissions here at Rutgers University-Newark. Rutgers University-Newark is the northernmost university of the Rutgers system, or the state university system for the state of New Jersey. We are also the medium-sized institution of the bunch. Rutgers University Camden being our smallest institution, Rutgers University New Brunswick being the largest. So we're that nice mid-size option. not too big, not too small. We have about 13,000 total students here at Rutgers University-Newark. About 7,500 of them are undergraduate students. The rest of them are going to be graduate students. So we do have a pretty high undergraduate to graduate student ratio here, which is awesome for our undergraduate students because you can really get involved with that original research that the professors and the graduate students are doing on a daily basis. Some of our undergraduate students go on to get published, which helps them out when they're applying to graduate school or graduate programs. We are broken down into 4 different undergraduate colleges and schools for our first year and transfer student populations. So that would be the Newark College of Arts and Sciences, which is our liberal arts school. That's really where the bulk of our majors are housed. And then we have 3 professional schools. Our 3 professional schools are Rutgers Business School Newark, the School of Criminal Justice, and the School of Public Affairs and Administration. The School of Public Affairs and Administration has an undergraduate program in public and nonprofit management. The School of Criminal Justice has a program in criminal justice, surprisingly enough. And then the business school has programs in accounting, finance, management, marketing, supply chain management, and information systems. They also have 2 minors that I think are really cool, the business of fashion and entrepreneurship. The Newark College of Arts and Sciences also has some really interesting and fun minors that I always like to highlight. The LGBTQ studies one is my personal favorite, but you can really get a very well-rounded education here at Rutgers University-Newark. We are the #1 most diverse college or university in the entire country, and we've been ranked #1 in diversity since 1997, which is when U.S. News and World Report first started ranking diversity. And what that does for our students is it really brings the world to campus. So you might be sitting in a classroom with people who speak 11 different languages at home, but you're all coming together to learn about this one topic. So that diversity of perspective, diversity of religion, diversity of backgrounds, and perception on things really cultivates a unique atmosphere around campus. We actually don't have a racial majority on campus, which I think is a really wonderful place to live and learn. It also ties hand in hand with a couple of special programs, like our EOF program for first generation students, or our Honors Living Learning Community. The Honors Living Learning Community is our revolutionary new honors program. That's a residential program, but their whole mission and their whole focus is on social justice, which is really exciting.
Awesome, really great overview, Carrie. Thank you so much. And last but most certainly not least, Eddie and Williams College.
Hi everyone, I'm Eddie from Williams. I'm excited to be here. I myself was a first generation college going student that attended Williams, so glad to see students here being really active in their college search process. A little bit about Williams. We're a small liberal arts college in the northwest corner of Massachusetts. We were founded in 1793. We have a population of just under 2,200 students in total. We focus on the undergraduate student education. So we have an average class size of 13 students at Williams. We have a 7-to-1 student to faculty ratio. 77% of our courses are fewer than 20 students. So our mission is to give students voice in the classroom, to make sure that they have their perspectives heard, to make sure that they get to know their professors, and then also making it easy on the professors to get to know their students with such small classes. Williams also offers a really unique style of class called the tutorial. Tutorial classes are classes that have a 2-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So it will be you, one other student, and the professor that meets as that group. You'll meet once a week, about an hour to an hour and a half for the rest of the semester. So it really is the most rigorous but fun kind of classroom experience that students reflect on during their Williams experience. We have 90% graduation rates across all of our student body. We also see about 90% of our students are employed or in graduate school 6 months after Williams. Some of the top programs that we see students end up at, again, so we don't focus on the graduate programs, we focus on undergrad, but we see students ending up at Harvard, Columbia, Yale, University of Pennsylvania for graduate schools, for business schools, law schools, and medical schools. So there's a lot of places where students go on and I think Williams propels them onwards to those different destinations.
Great. Thank you again to our awesome college reps. So what we're going to do from here, I have a few questions for you guys that I want each college to have a chance to answer. And then we're going to get to student questions. So we're already seeing some awesome questions from students watching with us, which is great. I want to reiterate to students to please share your questions, type them in the chat window at any time. And we're going to leave time to get to as many of those questions as possible. So my questions for you start with the fact that our mission is to support students who are from a low-income background or might be first in their family to go to college. So I want to learn a little bit more about some of your campus's unique programs or opportunities for this population of students. So Dawn, you want to get us started?
Absolutely. Well, when a student comes to Bay Path, we kind of look at the end in mind first. We really want to make sure that our students find a job when they leave. So a couple of really great things that we do. First and foremost, every single one of our programs require an internship, fieldwork, or co-op. So that's really important that our students get that real life experience before they graduate. In addition to that, some of our programs are offered in a 3-year accelerated format. So this will really shave off a year of tuition, time, and expense when a student enrolls in one of these 3-year accelerated programs. We also like to couple that with a potential 1-year graduate program. So think about it, a student can leave in 4 years with not only a bachelor's degree, but also a master's degree. So I think really students these days are looking to make sure that they enroll in a college program that will lead them to great work relationships and great opportunities, but also that can accelerate them if they so choose to go through that rigor a little bit more quickly, saving some money on the front end. Something else really that is unique about Bay Path University is that we offer a Women as Empowered Learners and Leaders program, which we call WELL. In the first year, students identify what their passions are so that they are able to determine what their purpose is in their own world. So it kind of helps determine what their graduate degree would be, what their undergrad degree would be, and what their career could be at the end of 4 years. In the second year of WELL, this is a 4-year program. In the second year of WELL, students learn how to present themselves in interviews. In the third year, we're working on co-ops and resume building. And in the fourth year, students work together to find a project that addresses social change. And they actually go out, for example, we launched a essential thrift store that helps folks in need. So they go out and they collect donations. There's a store in Springfield, Massachusetts, where people who are in need, really, they look forward to this. So that was a project that our students do, really putting real life application to the coursework. And in addition, many of our students work, whether it's on campus or outside of campus. We have some great work study programs to help them with their expenses during college years, and then also gets them out in the community. Lastly, I want to talk about our Ally program for students. This is the Academic Learners and Leaders program. So this has been established to help students, somewhat like a bridge program during the summer, to help them onboard at the college and be successful in their programs. So those are just a couple of the ways in which we work with our first generation students and make sure that they're set up for success at Bay Path.
Really great, Dawn. Thanks so much. Over to you, Brittany.
Yeah, so I think the most important thing is thinking about that transition and how are students prepared academically as well as their community, and then of course financially and those resources. Academically, all of our students, once they come to campus, not only are they going to attend an orientation where they get a little more acclimated to the different students and the different clubs and organizations as well as resources. There's also a first generation oriented orientation that's solely for first generation students that can attend. When students get to campus, they have an advisor, and every student is going to be given an advisor, and this is going to be someone who's going to help you navigate that academic pathway. So figuring out what courses you need to take, the types of classes you're thinking about, if in what majors you're considering, and making sure that you're preparing yourself for your 4 years, but also seeing that some students will be able to graduate early because of the classes and the APs that they bring to campus. So being able to prepare for that. You'll have a general advisor who's going to kind of help you get your start, but then once you start declaring your majors and your minors, you'll also have advisors for those particular subjects. So you'll have a lot of academic support. Thinking more about the community side, when students come to campus, we do have a lot of programs to support students and making sure they find their community. One specifically that really envelopes students who are first generation is the First Gen Connect program. And this is really a mentorship where students are coming to not only meet with professional staff members and students who are first generation on campus and who have really been able to navigate the campus experience, but who can then really support them in their process, connect them to different organizations on campus, and serve as a mentor in that process. They'll have workshops where they'll discuss the syllabi and the syllabus activity, where they're able to break down some activities and really the structure of college. We also have our first year seminar, and this is more of an academic class, and students will get academic credit. And again, it is there is one specifically for first generation students, and it allows students to really break down again more, not only just the academic side, but again, that community side, the organizations that you'll join. The clubs and organizations, the academic component as well. So there's a lot of things in place to make sure students feel supported. Additionally, when students are on campus and they're pursuing academics, we are also thinking about job readiness. So you'll have access to our Career Center, our Center for Career Development, that will allow students to think about how are you relaying those skills that you're learning in the classroom and making them transferable and applicable to real life career and organization. We were ranked within 11 with global employability, and that is really a testament to the Career Center for being able to prepare our students, giving them those skill sets by mock interviews, resume prep, and things of that nature to really prepare them for the next level, whether that be a postgraduate, graduate school, a career, or the military, wherever our students really choose to go. So there are a lot of supports on many different levels to make sure our students are successful. They're not just surviving, but thriving on campus.
Thank you, Brittany. And up next would be Matthew and Otis College of Art and Design.
All right, so just a couple of stats. About 22% of our students are first generation. And so a lot of the services that we provide the college are certainly utilized by the first gen students, but really students across the board. A lot of the early steps are about transition. You have a lot of attention on an academic level within the classroom setting. Our student to faculty ratio is 6:1. Classes are quite intimate. So there's a lot of individualized support that students have in the classroom, but outside of that, we have what we call the Student Learning Center, the SLC, where students can access our full-time tutors with any academic help that they might need, everything from writing, you name it, the list goes on, especially for their liberal arts and sciences courses. They're also assigned when they arrive during the orientation week to an academic mentor that they have throughout their entire experience. They're typically meeting on multiple occasions throughout the year with their academic mentor, and that's really to make sure, one, that they're using the resources across the college robustly, and then also to kind of help them choose their major, help them utilize the career services that are offered throughout the college, internships, things of that nature. So it's a really robust mentoring program that's done with a faculty member one-on-one. In a similar vein, we have what we call a peer mentor program. So when students arrive, they're also assigned to an upper class student. The incoming students actually have some choice as to who their peer mentor is. Usually they're aligning interests or something, something that will attract them to that particular mentor. So they actually have a student that they can meet with as often as they'd like throughout the year for individualized coaching and support. Again, it's usually an upper class student, junior or senior. There's also an initiative across the college called Your Creative Future, and it's really about how the college helps a student prepare for success during their studies, but ultimately to go from their college studies into their career. It's everything from the internship services that are provided with career services and our faculty, to the professional preparedness coursework that they take in any of the majors that we offer. We do have some great stats on job placement. 92% are employed within a year of graduating or in graduate school. And then beyond that, a more holistic approach is certainly offered to the students as well. We have a really robust list of student activities and clubs that they can get involved with to engage with the community on a social level. And if a club doesn't exist and a student wants to create it and there's a critical mass to kind of, combine forces together, they can definitely do that too. The list of clubs is growing every semester. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Matthew. And over to you, Carrie.
Awesome, thank you. So specifically for first generation students, we have a number of different programs and initiatives. Here at Rutgers University-Newark, about half of our students are Pell eligible. So while not limited to first generation students, we're definitely all about access and opportunity. And that's really reflected in a number of different programs. First, you have the Educational Opportunity Fund. The Educational Opportunity Fund is a state-run program that we have here in the state of New Jersey. A number of universities and colleges participate in it, but we do have a quite large program here at Rutgers University-Newark. This program is specifically for first-generation students, so it is limited to that population, and there is also income requirements for it. So your family, based on the number of people in your household, your family can't make more than a certain amount of money. The sliding scale is available on our website. And that really provides access to students who would not otherwise have the opportunity to attend a university like Rutgers. So there's both an academic component and a financial component to it. If you're going to qualify for EOF, you are going to qualify for a significant amount of financial aid, whether you're in EOF or not. So for us, EOF is really all about the academic support services. They take a very holistic approach to looking at students. SATs and ACTs are not the biggest factor in the guidelines that we use for EOF, but they're also not the biggest factor that we use for regular admission either. For us at Rutgers University-Newark, we really try to take a holistic approach to looking at our students and identifying talent that is not based on a narrow predictor of success like the SAT or the ACTs. And that's really seen in the foundation of the HLLC program. The Honors Living Learning Community program that I mentioned earlier as our Revolutionary New Honors program is looking for students who are coming from all backgrounds, all walks of life, and they don't consider the SAT or ACT at all in their consideration of honors. So for that program, it's based on 2 rounds of interviews, and the majority of the students in that program are first generation students. So that's another option that we have for students. We also see a number of first-generation students coming to us as transfer students through the community colleges of the state of New Jersey. New Jersey has 19 different community colleges, and we have partnerships and articulation agreements with all of them. We have a new scholarship program called Run to the Top. It's the Rutgers University-Newark Talent and Opportunities Pathways program. And the Run to the Top program provides students with scholarship dollars to complete their bachelor's degree here. So if you attend one of the New Jersey community colleges and graduate with your associate's degree and your family makes $60,000 or less, you can actually come to Rutgers University-Newark for free, provided that you are a New Jersey resident. This program does have a first-year component to it as well, but it is limited to residents of the city of Newark. Rutgers University-Newark obviously is in Newark, which is the largest city in the state of New Jersey, but we're very committed to our city. So you'll hear our chancellor, Dr. Nancy Cantor, talk all the time about how not only are we in Newark, but we're really of Newark. So we're looking to serve that population as well. So there's a lot of overlap in these initiatives.
And Matt, I think, is trying to reconnect, so I will just continue on. in terms of thinking about programs and opportunities available for low-income and first-generation college-going students. So at Williams, students will be paired with an advisor the summer before their freshman year. So this will really help students understand some of the requirements at Williams and really be thinking early on in terms of the classes that they might want to select and how they might course their academic journey at Williams. Now, students can keep that advisor when they declare major at the end of their sophomore year. They can then select a new advisor within that specific major. And then we also have a first-gen orientation for students when they come to campus right at the beginning of the school year. This is a way for students to build relationships with a group of their peers. And this happens as well with a few of the other orientation programs. This actually happens before many of our general orientation programs. So students actually come to campus a few days early to get to meet with a cohort of their peers that are also first-generation college-going students. There's a little bit more information that we give in terms of access to resources, support services, and where students can go for help when they need it. We also have a first-gen student advisory board that works really closely with our dean's office. Now, this is a group of students that really takes their responsibility seriously in building community at Williams amongst first-generation college-going students and hosting activities, just fun activities, bowling, movies for students to hang around. So these students are really committed to creating an atmosphere where students can feel comfortable on campus and they come together with a group of their peers. We also have students, we want to make sure that their voices are heard. So we have students from the First Gen Advisory Board actually on our search committee. We're in the process right now at Williams of hiring a new president. So our president will be for the next academic year, and we really want to have the student input on that. So student input broadly, but then also we wanted to have the first generation student perspective represented in that hiring process. So we have students from this from our first gen advisory board on the committee for that. Williams hosted the first generation college student summit, I believe it was 2 years ago. And so we were really happy to be able to do that. Our students and our dean's office came together to pull off that event that brought students and other college professionals to our campus for that. I also wanted to mention a few opportunities for students. We want to make sure that all clubs and organizations are open to students. At Williams, we limit work study to 10 hours a week, so students will not go above that. They won't exceed that. We don't expect them. Most students will work about 5 to 8 hours a week, so it's a reasonable work expectation. From there, then students have the free time to be able to explore many different interests that they have. And so they're able to do that when they're on campus. All resources are free for students. And so whether it's career services, the health center, mental health counseling, any tutoring sessions, everything is provided by Williams. So we want a student to be able to get the help when they need it and not have to worry about paying out of pocket. You can hire a one-on-one tutor if you need additional support in your class, and that charge is covered by Williams. Students never have to pay out of pocket for any kind of academic services. Again, any group study sessions, with tutors, the writing workshop, anything like that. So there's quite an active presence of students on campus. And we want to make sure that the first generation college student perspective is represented and is heard. We have a very active group on campus, as I mentioned, the First Gen Advisory Board, and then many other students as well, sort of beyond just the scope of the group that participate on campus. Now, I'm not sure if Matt is back, but I do have the next question queued up for the group here. So it relates to college costs. And so the question is, college costs are a big deal for many students and families, and there is a misperception about how financial aid works and what the actual costs of college are. We're hoping to have an honest discussion here about financial aid at each of our institutions. So what kind of assistance might a Pell eligible student or someone who otherwise has financial need expect from each of our institutions?
So I'll start the group off with that question. Thanks, Eddie. I want to just back up and think about the advising that we give to our students, especially our first generation college kids. About 43% of our incoming class are diverse, and many of them are Latino students. So what we do at Bay Path is we offer a series of financial aid workshops from now until April to help students navigate the FAFSA process and all of the paperwork that goes along with that and all of the anxiety that happens with that as well. So throughout the next couple of months, we'll offer Spanish-speaking workshops and also webinars to help students with their questions. We actually ask them to bring in their tax returns. We'll start their PIN with them and make sure that they're working to the right beat of the drum, if you will. Also, many of our states offer College Goals Sunday. So for those of you on the webinar tonight, just if you Google College Goals Sunday, your state will offer one. Take a look at that because that's really great information as well. Additionally, at Bay Path, we offer financial aid TV. So whether you are in New England or on the West Coast, like my friend Matthew over there, you know, you can always log on and get the FAFSA information at your fingertips. It's a series of YouTube videos to help students with any of those questions. And another service that I just wanted to mention is that we have partnered with saltmoney.org. Now, SALT means nothing, but the organization was established by the American Student Assistant Group in Boston, and we work with them and provide services for students. So especially first generation college students who might have questions on repayment programs, on job searches, on what to expect. So it's a really, really rich resource that we give students. And I'm sure my colleagues online have also had some experience with them as well. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is scholarships. So many of our students are not aware that we offer, you know, up to $25,000 in scholarship money. So think about that. That's a huge amount of money over the course of 4 years, $100,000 that is offered to students. But, you know, at the end of the day, there still might be a gap. So what can we do to help those Pell students make college affordable and a reality? So what happens is when those financial aid packages come out, the admissions counselor will actually call the students and review the financial aid package with her, answer any questions that she might have. And then what we do is we go through the scholarship options, you know, and find out where the scholarships may lie and send them the resources to help them find those scholarships, which will help them close the gap. We'll also work with students as far as, you know, if there's special need, special circumstances and special considerations that we need to look at, because you can only glean so much information from a FAFSA form. And unfortunately, some of these students come with other situations that have happened with their family lives. So we want to talk to the students, meet with them, and find out what we can do to help them make Bay Path a reality. And then there's time after May 1st happens. You know, what is the student doing at that time? Is she working towards, you know, putting down a little bit more money towards their bill, or are they looking for other resources to help with them? We're here to help them identify sources that will help ensure that they matriculate in the fall. So I will pass that on to Brittany. Thanks, Brittany.
Oops.
I can't hear you.
We can't hear, sorry.
Great, thank you all. So I would love to really get into this conversation, because as much as it is wonderful for students to get admitted into these institutions, the next step is how do we afford these institutions? So at Boston University, we really make Boston University as affordable as possible to our students because we value equity and access. Just to talk more so about some of our scholarship and just the awards that are offered, students who apply to Boston University are eligible for merit-based awards as well as need-based aid. About 88% of our students will have need-based aid and 12% will have a merit award. I'll explain the difference in a little bit, but 94% of our students who come to BU will have will receive some type of aid. For our merit-based scholarships, we offer the trustee and the presidential. Again, this is offered for all students coming who are domestic and international, Pell eligible, first generation. This is really based off how you've done within your institution, within your high school career. For the trustee, it's a full tuition scholarship. It's one of the most prestigious scholarships, at Boston University. And students will have to submit their application by December 1st to be eligible, as well as then fill out an additional essay to be considered. We also have our presidential scholarship, which is $20,000 award. And the only caveat is for students to submit their application by December 1st. In addition to the merit-based scholarships, we then recognized, again, need can play a role. So when students are applying to the institution, that financial aid deadline is going to be important as well. There are a few pathways to Boston University. So when students are applying, they can apply early decision to regular decision. The most important thing, and I can't stress this enough, are those deadlines so that we can really consider you for your full eligibility. So students who are applying early decision, the deadline to apply early decision is January 2nd, and then the financial aid deadline is also January 2nd. For folks who are applying regular decision, the deadline is January 2nd to submit your application, and the financial aid deadline is February 1st. So it's important that those deadlines are met just so that we really can consider you for the full eligibility. And then just thinking about some need-based scholarships. So we have two unique programs that I love sharing with students because it really is a testament to our commitment. One is the Richard Cohen Scholarship, and this allows for students who are Pell eligible. We will, for some students who will get admitted into Boston University, we will then meet their need. So we want to make sure that BU is an affordable, but also really an option for a lot of our students. We also have the BU Scholarship Assurance Program. And what this means is that when students are applying to Boston University, they have to submit their FAFSA and their CSS profile. But once students receive the BU grant or BU information and a need-based aid, they will be assured that amount throughout their 4 years. So you'll be able to then kind of figure out what will that equation will look like and how you can plan with your family for the 4 years. So it gives you a little bit of ease knowing that you have this for the next 4 years. And really that definitely shares a lot of our information when it comes to scholarships. I do encourage students to look at our website, especially because there's a net price calculator that you can use as a resource, as well as looking at different scholarships and tools and resources when trying to kind of navigate financial aid.
I'm back.
Right.
Welcome back.
Very, very embarrassing. I apologize. Thank you for rolling through it. My computer just went totally haywire and I had to do a reboot and find my way back in the room. But I'm glad that the chat continued and doesn't appear to be affected. The only problem is that the questions that had been accumulating in my chat window are gone. So I've asked everybody to resubmit them, and I'm seeing some more come in, which is great. Maybe you guys still see everybody's chat. I'm not sure, but still a number of questions from students that we'll be able to get to in a few minutes, and want to encourage those who are just joining us or haven't asked your questions yet to please do so. And sorry to interrupt, but thank you for continuing with our agenda and talking about financial aid. So I'll turn it back over to Matthew then, who I think would be next.
Great, thank you. So about 87% of our students currently enrolled are on financial aid, and that's a combination of need and merit scholarships from the college. The typical range is going to be between maybe 10 to 25,000 per year, and the award that you're given from the get-go is what you'll have for the 4 years that you would be in the program. For upper-level students, we have special scholarships. They're called name scholarships. And so, in other words, a student is eligible for potentially additional funds sophomore, junior, and senior years, typically based on, again, need and merit specific to their academic program. I also wanted to mention that about 40% of our students are Pell eligible or Pell recipients. In addition to the money that the school provides towards tuition, residents of the state of California who graduated from a California high school are eligible for the Cal Grant. There are two different types of Cal Grants available, but typically every state out there, with a few exceptions, have some kind of state program. So that's definitely something to look into. The Cal Grant definitely provides our Pell students in particular an extra boost. And then, of course, there are federal loans and other private loans that you can take out as well to finance your education. I think it can be a lot to navigate, and I'm sure every school here is really excited when a student reaches out early on, educate themselves on what each school has to offer, and really consider it more or less a conversation. Learn about the different resources, the different things that you can apply to. It's a lot. There's a lot of information to digest, but it's really great to kind of engage in those conversations early and think about what you can do proactively while you're applying to the college or researching the college to actually finance your education. And everyone's usually pretty nice too, so there's no reason, not to be hesitant on that. The other thing I wanted to mention, this is the case for Otis, and every college does this a little bit differently, but again, it is a conversation. So if you find that you've received your award, you were admitted, and you got some scholarship money, some loans, maybe some state funding, and it's still not enough, definitely reach out to admissions or financial aid at Otis or potentially other schools too to find out if there's anything else you can do. We do have a secondary appeal scholarship where you can outline additional things that you think we should know about regarding your financial situation, and we can consider that and potentially award additional funds given the parameters that you've outlined. So again, it's a conversation and an exciting process to get involved in.
Good advice, Matthew. Thank you. Your building's not on fire, is it?
Oh, wow. No, I guess not.
All right, just want to make sure you're safe and everything's okay. Carrie, over to you. Financially at Rutgers Newark.
Yeah, when we talk about financially, that primarily is need-based monies, and then of course scholarships are going to be merit-based, generally speaking. So at Rutgers University-Newark, about 80% of our students receive some sort of aid to attend our university. Our students, we try to be as generous as possible with our students, and the awards come out in a combination of forms, typically grants, loans, and work study. Grants being gifts obviously don't have to be paid back. So one of the tips that I always tell, specifically our New Jersey residents, is make sure that when you're filling out your FAFSA, you have a New Jersey school in one of the top 3 places on your FAFSA, because that way, if you're eligible for the New Jersey TAG grant, you'll get packaged for that. If you don't plan on staying in the state of New Jersey and you don't list one of a New Jersey school in your top 3, the state won't package you for that. So that's a good tip, is to make sure that you have at least a New Jersey school in one of those top 3 spots. Hopefully it's Rutgers University-Newark, or just Rutgers University in general. Rutgers University, the system kind of does financial aid all at once. So you can just go to financialaid.rutgers.edu, and it's the same financial aid information for each of the 3 regional universities. So the programs don't really change for financial aid that much, with the exception of our Run to the Top program. The Rutgers University-Newark Talent and Opportunities Pathways program is specific to Rutgers University-Newark. And again, that's either for first-year students who are residents of the city of Newark or transfer students who are coming from one of the New Jersey community colleges with their associate's degrees. Scholarships really run the gamut. It's from about $3,500 all the way up to a full ride, and that is based mostly on merit. So your grades, your GPA, your SAT scores, things like that. But we do understand that SATs and GPA are kind of narrow predictors of success. So we do take a holistic approach to some of the other scholarships, specifically the HLLC. The HLLC, which is our Honors Living Learning Community, does a residential scholarship. Because that is a residential honors program, you're required to live on campus. which just may not be in the cards for a lot of our students. So if you were thinking, hey, I'd really like to live on campus, but I don't know how that's going to work financially for my family, this program could really help you out, because what it does is not only is the HLLC doing awesome work on social justice issues, but you're doing it as a cohort living on campus together. And through a combination of scholarship dollars and financial aid dollars, we make living on campus completely free. A lot of scholarships focus on tuition, but the HLLC scholarship will focus on your room and board, which is pretty unique in that area.
Really great. Thank you very much, Carrie. And over to you, Eddie, financial aid at Williams.
Yeah, so Williams offers only need-based financial aid. So it's in our philosophy to grant financial aid to families that wouldn't otherwise be able to afford a Williams education. So we have really generous financial aid. We grant over $50 million in financial aid every single year to students. Our average aid package for a student is actually $55,000. For international students, that's even higher. Our average aid package for an international student is around $60,000. So we want to make sure that students are able to afford Williams, and we're able to support them in their college dreams. We meet 100% demonstrated need for students, and so what that means is that you'll have your total cost of attendance. From there, you subtract your estimated family contribution, and the remainder is total need. So whatever that number comes out to, Williams will give a financial aid package that covers 100% of that remaining value. 15% of students don't pay anything to attend. So I mentioned earlier in the intros that I was a first-generation college-going student. I attended Williams and graduated in 2015. I did not pay anything to attend Williams. So it actually was the cheapest option for me, because I didn't have to pay anything. My parents didn't have to pay anything to attend. And so we see students, number of students every single year that don't have to pay anything out of pocket to attend. Now, in thinking about the composition of a financial aid package, 93% of our financial aid packages are grant money. And so most of that comes from the institutional aid that we're able to give to students from our endowment, from a few other resources that we have. I mentioned earlier, students are working about 5 to 8 hours a week. We cap it at 10. So 93% is of a financial aid package is grant. About 4% of it is from the campus job, and then 3% of it is from loans. So we try to minimize loans in every possible situation. Family incomes below $75,000 will not have a loan in the student's financial aid package. So if you are from family backgrounds below that, you can expect to graduate without any loans from Williams. And 97% of our students return for their sophomore year. It's one of the highest sophomore retention rates in the country. I think there are a lot of factors that contribute to this, certainly the academic pieces, professors that we have here, the community at Williams that's really supportive. But I think a large part of this is actually also from an affordability standpoint, where students realize that they can afford to come to Williams. They don't have to, there's no change in expectations. If your family situation is exactly the same, if it doesn't change, you will receive the same amount of financial aid. You can expect to receive the same amount of financial aid every single year. And so we want to make sure that Williams is affordable for students throughout all 4 years during their time here. Even things, we do everything that we can to minimize the hidden costs associated with college. So all students that are on financial aid, regardless of how much or how little financial aid they receive, qualify for free books at the college, free books, course supplies, materials. So what that means is that you'll just go to the bookstore, you'll collect your required readings. This also includes art supplies for art classes, course packets. You go to the bookstore, you collect your required readings, you swipe your college ID, and that charge gets sent directly to the Office of Financial Aid. So students will never have to worry about that. We implemented this policy in 2010 because we didn't want students to be limited in their course exploration simply because they couldn't afford college textbooks or they couldn't afford the materials for their courses. And so we've seen resounding success with this program. We see students exploring the full range of courses. And so Those are some of the opportunities available at Williams. One last thing that I'll mention is even in a student's senior year, we have what's called the Last Yard Fund. And this provides additional resources to students, particularly from low-income backgrounds, from first-generation college-going student backgrounds. Things like interview attire, if you don't own a suit, or professional attire, for example, for an interview setting. Things like if for students that are thinking of graduate school, this fund provides exam support for the GRE if students are taking the GRE or any other, the MCAT, the GMAT for any other professional schools that they're interested in after Williams. So we're able to have a lot of flexibility to support students in even their senior year as they're looking to launch from Williams to their next place.
Very cool. Thank you, Eddie, for sharing. Really living the mission, which is really great to hear. We do have a few student questions that I want to bring in on the financial aid topic. So the first is from Huliza, who wants to know about financial aid for DACA students. You're welcome to chime in if you have anything to share from your institution as far as whether your policies are the same or different for DACA students and what they should know.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in on that, if you don't mind. At Rutgers University-Newark, we have a lot of resources for our DACA students. We actually have the Rutgers University non-resident tuition exemption form. So if you are a DACA or just undocumented student, or rather specifically a student who is not here on a valid visa in the state of New Jersey, and you've gone to a New Jersey high school for your entire high school career and you're graduating from a New Jersey high school, you will qualify for in-state tuition by filling out this form. So you won't be charged out-of-state tuition, which I think is really helpful because out-of-state tuition is double the in-state tuition rate. We have also recently hired an attorney for our student. His name's Jason, and he's an immigration attorney, and he is actually on staff now and able to represent our currently enrolled Rutgers University-Newark students and counsel them and give them legal counsel for their immigration cases. So that's a resource we're providing to our students as we're all trying to navigate these now really choppy waters.
I like that. Thank you, Carrie. Others want to chime in?
Yeah, I will say that for our for students who are undocumented or DACA students, as far as merit-based aid, that's all accessible to all of our students. And then in regards to programming, we are really developing and trying to cultivate more of a stronger resource base on campus to make sure that we are accessible and really paying attention to the needs of our students on campus. However, there are currently, again, we have programs on campus that are going to help students navigate. And I first think about advising, and then in the School of Education, they're really building robust programs to make sure that students feel supported and they have really a point center to go to.
Thanks, Brittany. I don't know if it's just me or if it's a problem for others too. We heard you fine, but your video is frozen. So you might want to turn your webcam off and on, or maybe it's just on my screen. I don't know, but thank you. All right, others want to chime in?
Yeah, one thing I would also add, just in addition to what was previously mentioned, was at Williams, we consider DACA status students and undocumented students in our domestic pool. They are not international students. So in the actual admission process, it is exactly the same for DACA and undocumented students as it is for any other student residing in the United States. So that aid is available for students who are, regardless of their U.S. citizen, a permanent resident, DACA status, or undocumented. That is, it remains exactly the same for all students across the board.
Great, thanks, Eddie.
Otis College is the same on that.
Perfect. Dawn, anything you would like to?
For our DACA students, we do offer. we do offer merit scholarships, and as needed, we would look at cases on a one-on-one basis if they qualify for a little bit more.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Suna has a question about the best websites for scholarships. Any websites that you particularly think are good or credible, or that you recommend to students who are searching for outside scholarships, I guess?
I love fastweb.com. I send all of my students there. That's my go-to. But also saltmoney.org is also another resource that lists all sorts of scholarships.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
I would also add one from College Greenlight. I haven't seen sort of their scholarship list specifically. I know they have one, but they also run a really great list for fly-in programs for students that are interested in actually stepping foot on campus that can't afford to visit schools. Every single year they publish a great fly-in program list for schools all around the country where students would be able to apply to different programs and see and have the opportunity to actually step foot and visit a college campus.
Thanks, Eddie. Alrighty, let's we're an hour into our chat already. I want to make sure we get to some more student questions, but before doing that, let's hear from each of you about your admissions process, application deadlines, anything else that you think might be unique about the admissions process or how you evaluate applications at your school. Let's try to not get too far in the weeds or nuanced and keep our remarks fairly short to a minute or two so we can get to some of these student questions. But I think it's an important topic that we all have a chance to speak to. Let's go down the line again. Dawn?
Sounds good. So at Bay Path University, we offer admissions on a rolling basis, so you can apply anytime throughout the year. However, earlier is better. Early action for us is December 15th, so definitely make sure if you are interested in that to go ahead and apply. We are also test optional, so if a student is kind of thinking they want to apply without test scores, that's fine. We're happy to accommodate those students. We'll look at GPA, 2 letters of recommendation, a resume, and an interview to complete that application. Something really unique is that students at Bay Path will receive an admissions decision within 2 weeks. So it's a quick turnaround. So we're happy to work with students all the way up until August 1. And the sooner the better, because we have really great events starting in January for honor students, for our accepted student events, new student events, and scholarship events.
Thanks, Dawn.
Yep.
Brittany, are you with us still? Your
Yes.
video is still frozen, but I think we have your audio.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Excellent. Sorry for the video mishap. For students who are applying to Boston University, we have a holistic review. So I won't get into really the weeds of all of that, but what that means is that we're evaluating all the components of you. We know that you aren't just a test score or GPA. You've done a lot of things within your high school career, so we want to look at that. Granted, when you're coming to any institution, academics is going to be the first priority and that you are a student. So we do want to make sure that BU is going to be a place where you, again, can thrive. When we're looking at students who are applying, you have a few pathways to apply. You can apply early decision or early decision 2 or regular decision. The early decision 2 deadline is January 2nd, as well as the financial aid package. Financial aid deadline would also be January 2nd. For the regular decision deadline, it is also January 2nd, but the financial aid deadline is February 1st. The only difference between early decision, there are a few differences with early decision and regular decision, but more so that if you're applying early decision, it is a binding commitment. So if you are admitted into that institution, you're saying that you are going to go to the institution. As far as application pieces, we require 2 letters of recommendation, a teacher as well as a guidance counselor, submitting your SAT or ACT. We will super score your SAT, take the highest in your ACT. Then the general application around, again, your transcript, those are things we're looking at, as well as your essay for the supplement, as well as the general kind of personal statement. Additionally, with the supplement, it's the Why Boston University essay. I encourage students when they're filling out that essay to be very specific and to talk about the institution. There are over 55 colleges within the Boston area, and I encourage students to really identify what are the pieces about Boston University that really speaks to you, and then really communicating that in that essay.
Great, thank you, Brittany, and over to you, Matthew.
All right, so we're an art and design college, which means we have one additional requirement that that might be unique, the portfolio. But basically, a quick rundown, we're on the Common App, so students will apply via the Common App. There is an essay requirement. And then we're about a 50-50 ratio when we're making a decision between a student's academic record and their portfolio. I've worked for a couple of other art and design colleges, which were maybe a bit more portfolio heavy. But at Otis College, it really is about a 50-50 split. So academics, in fact, are maybe slightly more important if I had to choose between one or the other. The programs are really rigorous, and so we're looking for students who know how to, do well in a rigorous academic setting. So really focus on grades as much as you can in your high school setting and or college if you're transferring. The portfolio is 10 to 20 examples of your work, and we're very open-minded in terms of what that could be. Some students are very focused portfolio of work in one area that they've been developing for a long time. Others are emphasizing a lot of variety, so they might have photography, sculpture, painting, and some fashion design all kind of combined into one. So very open, and excited to see what you consider to be your best art and design work and what inspires you. And then we're also ACT or SAT optional. You don't have to submit those scores. If you did well, you're welcome to send them if you think they really reflect who you are, but they're not required to complete your application.
Awesome, thanks, Matthew. There was a question from a student earlier in the chat that I don't see anymore since my computer crashed, but I don't remember the student's name, but I remember the question. It was for you, and it was specific to your architecture program. The student was just interested in how selective the architecture program is.
Well, the thing to keep in mind is that unless you're applying as a transfer directly into that program, students are applying to essentially the foundation year, that first year that everyone goes through. So it's not more or less competitive for any of our individual majors as you're applying for one general year. So in that event, your portfolio could be architecture work, or it could be general drawings and paintings that you've been doing in art classes. You're really applying to foundation, not specifically.
Great, thank you. And Carrie, over to you.
Awesome, thank you. Our application process is entirely online. So if you just go to admissions.newark.rutgers.edu, you can look up the application and all of the supplemental documentation right there. It's relatively straightforward. We need three things. We need the online admissions application, we need your self-reported academic record, and your SAT or ACT scores. Here at Rutgers University-Newark, we are not test optional, being that we're part of the state university system. I don't think that's much of a surprise, but we do try to take a very holistic approach to looking at our students, understanding that the research would indicate the biggest predictor of success in college is success in high school. So we really focus more on your grades, which would be the self-reported academic record. The self-reported academic record, or the SRAR as it's abbreviated on our site, is basically a digital transcript that you self-report. So you're going to sit down at your computer with a copy of your transcript in front of you, and you literally just copy in, freshman year I took these classes, I got these grades. Sophomore year, these classes, these grades. And you do that for all 4 years. Senior year classes are likely going to be in progress. We do understand how high school works. So, but we want to know what you are taking senior year so that we can take that into consideration. We may be asking for your mid-year senior grades, depending upon the rest of your application. But we're looking at your overall grade trend. So what courses did you choose to take? The rigor of the coursework. Are they regular, remedial, honors, AP courses, things like that, and the grades that you got in those courses. So it's not about the cumulative GPA or a specific SAT score. There's not a magic number that's going to get you in or not in. So we're really taking a holistic approach to looking at our students. The admissions on the admissions application, you have the opportunity to apply to 3 different colleges or schools within the entire Rutgers system. So you can actually put Newark, a Newark choice, a New Brunswick choice, and a Camden choice all on the same admissions application, provided that you're using the Rutgers Legacy application, which is the one that's on our website. You could put all Newark school choices. You could switch it up by adding a Newark or New Brunswick school choice. It's really up to you. We review each of the applications for each of your school choices independently. So if you put 3 different choices on your application, you'll be reviewed for each of those 3 school choices as if they were 3 separate applications. We are also a college on the coalition application. The coalition application is kind of like Common App's competitor. It's the Coalition for Access and Success. We're on there as a Hispanic serving institution. New Brunswick is on there as well, but they're 2 separate applications. So most of our students are just still using the regular Rutgers Legacy application, but that would be an option if you really want. We don't use letters of recommendation. We don't need SAT 2s. The only additional things that we may need for the application would be if you're applying to special programs like the Honors Living Learning Community, because they have 2 rounds of interviews, or if you're applying to our accelerated 7-year BA/MD program, which has a whole slew of special requirements. So for specific requirements like that, I would definitely check the website. We do have rolling admission, so we are going to continue to accept applications until we're all full, but we do also operate based on 2 deadlines for first-year students. November 1st is our early action deadline, so if you get your application in by November 1st and your self-reported academic record and your test scores to us by November 15th, we can guarantee you a decision by the end of January. If you do December 1st, which is our regular admission deadline, and you get everything to us by December 15th, we can guarantee you a decision by the end of February. The only difference between those 2 dates is if you apply a month earlier, you're going to get your decision a month earlier. It's not necessarily easier or harder one deadline or the other. Early action is not binding. We're not required to come. You still have until May 1st to let us know if you're coming or not, just like anybody else. After December 1st, we do go into rolling admission and continuing to accept students until the seats in our specific schools are all full. Each school within Rutgers University, this system does have different admissions requirements. So some of the schools are going to be more competitive and some of the schools are going to be less competitive. Generally speaking, we're looking for students with mostly A's and B's in most of their classes. And keeping in mind that Rutgers University-Newark really is all about access and opportunity.
Thanks, Carrie. Up to you, Eddie.
Williams also has a holistic review to the student's application. We have 2 deadlines. Early decision, which is, as was mentioned earlier, is binding. That deadline is November 15th, so it's coming up. And our regular decision deadline is January 1st. If students, when they receive their decisions, they will actually also receive their financial aid package at the same time. So for early decision, students will hear back by December 15th. And they'll get their admission decision as well as their financial aid package. And then same is true for the regular decision round. We also accept the common application. We also accept the coalition application, which was just mentioned. And then we are partners with the QuestBridge scholarship program. QuestBridge is a national scholarship program dedicated to access and affordability, particularly for first-generation students and low-income students. And so there's a great cohort of schools that are partners with the QuestBridge as well. So we accept the QuestBridge application. One other thing I wanted to mention is actually just students understanding sort of how much they might pay for college. I forgot to mention this a little bit, but there's this little handy calculator on our website. If you're interested, it's called the Quick Cost Estimator. Just look for this icon, and it takes literally 3 minutes. It's that fast for you to get a sense of what you might be expected to pay for college. And those are sort of in a similar vein. We have similar requirements that we have as some of the other schools that were mentioned here. So transcript, obviously. We do require 2 teacher recommendations at Williams. We require standardized testing, either the SAT or the ACT. It doesn't matter which one the student uses. We require the extracurricular section, and then also the essay. And so those are some of the the requirements for Williams. We do have a supplemental essay that students can choose to write. We also do have an optional arts portfolio, specifically in music, theater, dance, and visual art. Students can submit that to demonstrate an additional talent.
Awesome. Let's get to some student questions. Kaylee has a question about applying early. A couple of you mentioned rolling admissions and also early decision and early action deadlines. Her question is, does applying early increase your chances? And I know that's differs per institution maybe, and not everybody has to answer necessarily either, but anyone want to kind of jump in with a quick response for Kaylee?
The one thing that I would say for Rutgers University-Newark that can make a difference, while it doesn't make a difference for regular admission, it can really make a difference for our EOF program. So if you're applying to the Educational Opportunity Fund, the students who have their applications in early and are complete with their EOF application on time or early, those students are going to get priority consideration. We only typically admit about 300 students into that program with the hopes of only enrolling 100. So the sooner the better if you're applying EOF.
So I would just like to add that we do offer an honors program and a women in STEM honors program, and those are highly selective and seats are limited. So if you are interested in participating in an honors program at Bay Path, get the application in early because those seats do fill up by, I would say, January 1st.
I will say for Boston University, last year we had enrolled a class of about 3,400 students. We had received about 60,000 applications. Of those 60,000, 4,000 of them were early decision, consisting of early decision and early decision 2, and we admitted about 35% of our incoming class from that 4,000. So you are within a smaller pool, and therefore, because of that, versus 35,000 from 4,000 students versus about 65 from about 56,000, that definitely does increase your chances because you are in a smaller pool.
And Brittany, we have a student, Koa, who has a specific ED question for BU. Koa wants to know what happens when an ED applicant's financial need isn't met.
Great question. For the early decision agreement, so the early decision agreement is binding except if you are unable to afford the institution or BU after you're receiving your financial aid. That is the one way you can be released. Granted, when determining that, you would have to have a conversation with our financial aid department, and you would talk to them and you can appeal. If after you have appealed and you've gone through all the steps to see if you can make BU more affordable, you can be released from the early decision agreement, and that is consistent not just with BU, but for any early decision agreement.
Thank you, Brittany. Amina, thank you for joining us and thank you for your question. Earlier in our chat, we had a great conversation about all of the institutions' specific support systems and programs for first-gen, low-income students of color. So unfortunately, we're not going to have time now to kind of regurgitate all of that, but I want to encourage you to reach out or visit the college's website, reach out to these admissions reps and get those questions answered. So thank you. We have a question from one of our YouTube watchers. Vanessa wants to know what you look for in a student that applies to your university. I know that's a big and broad question. Maybe another way to frame it that I'd be interested in hearing from you, and I know each of your institutions are very diverse and students of all different shapes and sizes and backgrounds, but if you could describe a a BayPath student, describe a BU student, describe a Otis student, describe a Rutgers-Newark student, describe a Williams student, what would you say in 1 or 2 pithy sentences?
1 or 2 sentences. I'll take a stab at that, Matt.
Yeah, please.
So many of our students, if I just look at the profile of our student from this year's class, the average GPA was a 3.3, and for composite score on ACT was about a 25, and about 600 in both of the sections of the SAT. But when you're looking at the transcripts, we're looking at also the rigor of the education, whether the student has had to overcome any kind of adversity in her life, how she reacted to that, how she tapped the resources that were available, and how she kind of overcomes those situations, because life is messy, and we completely understand that. So when we sit down with a student and we get to know the student through her essay or through an interview, we can really get a good feel for what it is that the student is looking for. So I think that's really important, to look at the student holistically, not just what's on paper, but how they're feeling, what their goals are, and making sure that it's a good match at the end of the day.
Thanks, Dawn. Brittany, you want to take a crack at it?
Yeah, I think when kind of what Dawn said, definitely thinking about students who are coming to Boston University, and academically, we definitely want them to thrive in this institution. And then if things happen, bumps along the road, they'll learn how to ask for help and then seek the resources, making sure that they can kind of bounce back and when facing adversity. Also, students who are curious, intellectually curious is really important, and it doesn't just have to be within the classroom setting, but for folks who want exposure in the real world. So taking advantage of the internships within the community, going abroad and seeing different communities within the country and outside of the country, really just having, being able to explore, and I said this earlier, pursuing things that you are interested in, but also allowing yourself to take risks and discover things that you never knew existed.
Great. Thank you, Brittany. And Matthew, how about an Otis student?
Sure. Well, I think a lot of us are probably all looking for academic excellence across the board. Students who have showcased a really strong commitment to their previous studies. It's certainly important to Otis, and I think any college out there. And then the next step is, it's important to try to showcase who you are in your application in some way. Some schools, they interview, so that's a great way to showcase in a conversation a lot about what you've done and what you're interested in. For us, the portfolio and that creative potential is really important to what we're looking for, and Otis is sort of looking to then bring the best out of their creativity and their potential once they would enroll in the program. I think a lot of times engagement with social issues or an interest or curiosity, as was said before, in the world and how to change it or improve it is a great thing to focus on and to put forth to an admissions office that you're looking to do. So there's no formula, but it's a matter of kind of showing who you are as much as you can. And for Otis, it's really that commitment, curiosity, academic excellence that we're all talking about.
Great, thanks, Matthew.
Sure.
Carrie, how about students at Rutgers-Newark?
Yeah, Rutgers University-Newark, if you'd like to see specific average profiles, if numbers and letters and grades really are what you're looking for, our academic profile is all on our website. So if you go to admissions.newark.rutgers.edu, you can see it broken down by school for the middle 50% of regularly admitted students. Just keep in mind that it is a regularly admitted 50% range. So 25% of the students that we admit are above that range, and another whole quarter of that population are below those ranges. So they're definitely not minimums or maximums by any means. I think when we talk about the right fit for students, we're really looking for students who have the grit and the resiliency to be successful in college. And we look for that in a number of different places on a student's application. Because we don't use letters of recommendation or interviews outside of the HLLC and our BAMD programs, we're really looking for that on a student's application as well as on their transcript. So, have you had an upward trend? Maybe high school started out a little rocky for you and you've overcome that and now you're doing really great. Maybe there was a slight dip on your transcript, and you can talk a little bit about what happened in your personal statement. The personal statement, not only do we use as a writing sample, but that is where we go to find out more information about you as a student. So what it is that we need to know is something that we're going to be looking for in your personal statement.
Thanks, Carrie. And Eddie, tell us about Williams students.
Yeah, and I would really emphasize sort of the intellectual vitality of the student, just that curiosity to learn, a passion to be in the classroom, to be in an environment where you really want to contribute to the conversation. We keep classes small so that students are active in the conversation. Professors expect students to be active rather than sitting in the back of the classroom. And I'll just summarize by saying we had last year Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie as our commencement speaker, and I think she coined it in a very clever and appropriate way, where she characterized Williams students as cool nerds, and we all felt vindicated in that description. And I think that's a really great example of a place where it's okay to really care about what it is that you really want to pursue, and you're going to be in an environment of your peers that will support you in your goals.
Great. We're coming up on our time. I want to sneak in one last question that didn't come from a student during this chat, but we've gotten before, and I seem to really like it because I've used it to close out these chats a few times now. But it is and it's going to put you on the spot a little bit, but I think you can do it, college folks. It's to describe your college, your culture, your community in 5 words or less. And it can be 5 distinct adjectives. It can be a short phrase or a motto, but you have 5 words. Whenever you're ready, we don't have to go in alphabetical order and put Dawn on the spot. She's been first the whole time here. But if you're ready, or whoever's ready, have at it.
Intellectual. So Brittany from Boston University. Intellectual curiosity, transformative, compassionate, solution-oriented.
Great, thank you, Brittany.
I'll jump in, Eddie from Williams again. I would say collaborative community, affordable, and world changers.
Nice.
I would say access and opportunity, diversity, community and family, and Newark.
There you go.
I guess it's my turn. So we have a view book which has a manifesto statement, which kind of does that in about 10 statements. So I think some of my favorites would be diversity defines us, LA, the city is our soul, Los Angeles, where dreams meet discipline. We get inspiration from everywhere. We don't sit by and watch.
Thanks, Matthew. I'm gonna close us out, Dawn.
All right, I'm gonna close this out. The ladies at Bay Path are gritty, serious, fun change agents.
Cool. Well, that's really great note to end on. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. For folks on the East Coast, working late for us, especially. We're going to follow up with all the students and provide the college reps' contact information. I hope that's okay. So if you didn't have your questions answered or just want to introduce yourself more personally to our college reps, you'll have their email addresses to reach out to. On the flip side, everybody who's registered for our event tonight, the students' information is going to be turned over to these colleges for them to follow up with as well. good luck to everybody. Want to remind you to check out imfirst.org and striveforcollege.org if you're somebody who's looking for some additional assistance with your college search and application process. Thank you again, and keep up the good work, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a great night.